Donald Trump has just announced a temporary pause on tariffs for goods imported from Mexico and Canada. This unexpected move has sparked discussions about its impact on international trade, border security, and the ongoing fight against drug trafficking. But what does it really mean for the U.S., Mexico, and Canada? Let's dive into the details and break it all down for you. Trump announces one-month tariff pause on Mexico and Canada. On Monday, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum and Donald Trump jointly announced that the U.S. would pause tariffs on Mexican goods for 1 month. This decision marks a significant shift in Trump's trade policy, especially given his past stance on tariffs as a tool for economic leverage. A similar agreement was reached between Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, ensuring that tariffs on Canadian products will also be temporarily suspended. However, despite these changes, there has been no announcement regarding tariffs on Chinese imports, leaving uncertainty about future trade relations with China. Why did Trump decide to pause tariffs? One of the biggest factors influencing Trump's decision was the growing issue of fentanyl smuggling into the U.S. from both Mexico and Canada. Over the past few years, the fentanyl crisis has worsened, with synthetic opioids flooding American streets and contributing to record overdose deaths. Trump has frequently blamed drug cartels operating in Mexico for the crisis, and his administration has pushed for stronger border enforcement. However, rather than increasing tariffs further, Trump has chosen to pause them in exchange for security commitments from Mexico and Canada. Mexico's commitment: a tougher border crackdown. In response to Trump's decision, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum announced a major security initiative. Sheinbaum's government will immediately deploy 10,000 National Guard members to Mexico's northern border. The goal? To intensify efforts against drug trafficking, particularly the smuggling of fentanyl. Mexican authorities have long been under pressure from the U.S. to take stronger action against drug cartels, and this deployment is one of the most significant border security measures Mexico has taken in recent years. But that's not all. Mexico has also agreed to work more closely with U.S. law enforcement agencies to crack down on criminal networks that facilitate drug smuggling across the border. The U.S. commitment stopping the flow of weapons into Mexico. In return, the U.S. has pledged to take stronger action against the smuggling of powerful firearms into Mexico. While much attention has been placed on drugs flowing north into the U.S., Mexican officials have long argued that the illegal flow of American firearms into Mexico has fueled cartel violence. Under this new agreement, U.S. authorities will increase monitoring and enforcement at key border checkpoints to prevent weapons from reaching Mexican criminal organizations. Gap 3S. Economic impacts of the tariff pause on North American trade relations. The decision to pause tariffs has significant economic implications for North American trade relations. Experts suggest that this move could lead to a temporary boost in economic activities across the region. Gap 3S. Expert opinions, a mixed bag. Economists are divided on the long-term effects. Some argue that the tariff pause will provide much-needed relief to businesses reliant on cross-border trade. According to Dr. Emily Rodriguez, an international trade expert, the pause on tariffs allows companies to stabilize their operations and reduces the uncertainty that has plagued the market for months. Gap 3S. Statistical data numbers tell the story. Recent statistics show that North American trade volume saw a 5% increase in the first week following the tariff pause. This uptick is particularly noticeable in sectors like automotive, agriculture, and manufacturing, which are heavily dependent on cross-border supply chains. Gap 3S. Potential challenges: not all smooth sailing. However, some experts caution that the benefits may be short-lived if the underlying issues are not addressed. While the pause offers temporary relief, it doesn't solve the systemic problems related to trade imbalances and security concerns, warns Dr. Michael Thompson, a policy analyst. Gap 3S. Long-term effects, a wait-and-see approach. The long-term economic impacts will largely depend on the effectiveness of the new security measures and the willingness of all parties to engage in constructive dialogue. If successful, this could pave the way for more stable and predictable trade relations in North America. Gap 3S. Conclusion, a critical juncture. In conclusion, the tariff pause represents a critical juncture in North American trade relations. While it offers immediate economic benefits, its long-term success will depend on the actions taken by Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. to address the root causes of trade and security issues. Stay tuned as we continue to monitor the situation and bring you the latest updates on this developing story. GAP 3's political implications? A strategic move? Trump's decision to pause tariffs on Mexican and Canadian goods is not just an economic maneuver. It carries significant political implications within the United States. GAP 3's. As we approach the upcoming elections, this move could be seen as a strategic effort to garner support from key voter demographics. GAP 3's. Appealing to business owners and farmers. By pausing tariffs, Trump is likely aiming to win over business owners and farmers who have been adversely affected by the trade war. GAP 3's. These groups form a crucial part of his voter base, particularly in swing states where agricultural and manufacturing sectors are vital to the local economy. GAP 3's. Public opinion, a divided nation. Public opinion on the tariff pause is divided. GAP 3's. While some view it as a positive step towards stabilizing the economy, others see it as a temporary fix that fails to address deeper issues. GAP 3's. According to a recent poll, 48% of Americans support the tariff pause, while 45% believe it's a mere political stunt. GAP 3's. Impact on congressional races. The tariff pause could also influence congressional races. GAP 3's. Lawmakers from states heavily involved in cross-border trade may use this decision to bolster their campaigns. GAP 3's. The tariff pause is a welcome relief for our state's economy, says Senator Jane Doe from Texas, a state that relies heavily on trade with Mexico. GAP 3's. Democratic response, a call for comprehensive policy. On the other hand, Democratic leaders are calling for more comprehensive policies to address trade and security issues. GAP 3's. While the tariff pause is a step in the right direction, it falls short of providing a long-term solution to our trade challenges, states House Speaker John Smith. GAP 3's. The bigger picture election strategy. Ultimately, the tariff pause could be a calculated move by Trump to strengthen his position ahead of the elections. GAP 3's. By addressing both economic and security concerns, he aims to present himself as a leader capable of making tough decisions for the benefit of the nation. GAP 3's. Conclusion. A high-stakes game. In conclusion, Trump's decision to pause tariffs is more than just an economic policy. It's a high-stakes political game that could significantly impact the upcoming elections. GAP 3's. Whether this move will pay off remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The political landscape in the U.S. is more complex than ever. GAP 3's. Stay tuned as we continue to analyze the unfolding political drama and its implications for the future. The historical context of tariffs in North America. To fully understand the implications of Trump's decision to pause tariffs, it's essential to explore the historical context of tariffs in North America. Over the years, tariffs have been a significant tool in shaping the economic and political landscape of the region. Early tariff policies. In the early 19th century, tariffs were primarily used to protect budding industries in the United States. The Tariff of 1816, for example, aimed to shield American manufacturers from British competition, fostering economic independence. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. Fast forward to the 20th century, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 stands out as a critical moment in tariff history. Implemented during the Great Depression, it raised U.S. tariffs on over 20,000 imported goods. While intended to protect American jobs, it led to retaliatory tariffs from other nations, exacerbating the global economic downturn. NAFTA and modern trade agreements. Moving to the late 20th century, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, marked a significant shift towards reducing trade barriers between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Enacted in 1994, NAFTA aimed to boost economic cooperation and growth across North America. While it succeeded in increasing trade, it also faced criticism for its impact on jobs and local industries. Comparing to past policies. Trump's recent tariff pause can be seen as a departure from his previous hardline stance reminiscent of the protectionist policies of the early 20th century. Instead, it aligns more closely with the collaborative spirit of NAFTA, aiming to balance economic interests with security concerns. Lessons from history. History teaches us that tariffs are a double-edged sword. While they can protect domestic industries, they often lead to trade wars and economic instability. Trump's decision to pause tariffs is a nuanced approach, reflecting lessons learned from past policies. Conclusion. By understanding the historical context of tariffs in North America, we gain a deeper insight into the complexities and potential ramifications of Trump's decision. Whether this move will foster long-term economic stability or merely serve as a temporary measure remains to be seen. Stay tuned as we continue to explore the intricate world of global trade policies. Interviewer: to gain deeper insights into the future of North American trade agreements, we spoke with Dr. Emily Harris, a renowned trade expert and economist at the Global Trade Institute. Dr. Harris, thank you for having me. The pause on tariffs by the Trump administration is a significant move, but it raises numerous questions about the future of trade relations in North America. Interviewer: Dr. Harris, how do you see this tariff pause impacting future trade agreements between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada? Dr. Harris: well, the tariff pause could serve as a catalyst for renegotiating existing trade agreements. It provides a window of opportunity for all three nations to address pressing issues like border security and drug trafficking, while also considering economic growth and stability. Interviewer: do you think this pause will lead to a permanent change in trade policies? Dr. Harris: it's possible, but it will largely depend on the effectiveness of the security measures implemented by Mexico and Canada. If they can demonstrate significant progress in curbing fentanyl trafficking, it could pave the way for more collaborative and less protectionist trade policies. Interviewer: what are the potential risks if these measures fail? Dr. Harris: if the measures fail, we might see a swift reinstatement of tariffs, which could lead to increased tension and economic instability in the region. It could also impact consumer prices and supply chains, further complicating the economic landscape. Interviewer: how does this situation compare to past tariff policies? Dr. Harris: historically, tariffs have been a double-edged sword. While they can protect domestic industries, they often lead to trade wars and economic downturns. This pause shows a shift towards a more collaborative approach, reminiscent of NAFTA's spirit, but with a focus on security concerns. Interviewer: any final thoughts on what we should watch for in the coming months? Dr. Harris: keep an eye on the effectiveness of the new security measures and the political climate in the U.S. These will be key indicators of whether the tariff pause will lead to more stable and long-term trade agreements, or if it will be a temporary reprieve. Thank you, Dr. Harris, for your valuable insights. As we navigate through these complex trade dynamics, it's crucial to stay informed about the latest developments. As we navigate through the complex landscape of North American trade relations, let's summarize the key points discussed in this video. First, we explored the recent announcement of the tariff pause by the Trump administration, a significant move that has far-reaching implications for trade relations between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. Next, we delved into the reasons behind this decision, highlighting Mexico's commitment to bolstering border security and the U.S. efforts to halt the flow of weapons into Mexico. We also examined the economic impacts of the tariff pause, noting its potential to stabilize North American trade relations and reduce consumer prices. Politically, this decision has stirred debates within the U.S., reflecting the broader implications of tariff policies on domestic and international fronts. Historically, tariffs have been a contentious issue in North America, often leading to economic turbulence. However, this pause signals a shift towards a more collaborative approach, focusing on security and economic stability. Expert insights from Dr. Emily Harris shed light on the future of North American trade agreements, emphasizing the importance of effective security measures and political stability in shaping long-term policies. As we look ahead, the effectiveness of the new security measures and the political climate in the U.S. will be crucial in determining whether this tariff pause leads to more stable trade agreements or if it remains a temporary reprieve. In conclusion, the situation remains fluid and complex. While the tariff pause offers a window of opportunity for renegotiating trade agreements and addressing security concerns, its success will largely depend on the collaborative efforts of all three nations involved. Stay tuned for more updates as we continue to monitor this evolving situation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay informed on the latest developments in global politics, economics, and trade news. Thank you for watching. Canada's $1.30 billion border security plan. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took to X, formerly Twitter, to emphasize his country's commitment to border security. Trudeau highlighted that Canada has already invested $1.3 billion in strengthening border control measures. Key Canadian measures include deployment of helicopters and advanced surveillance technology to monitor border crossings, additional personnel stationed at critical border points to prevent drug smuggling, closer collaboration with U.S. security agencies to track and intercept fentanyl shipments, Nearly 10,000 security personnel actively working to stop fentanyl smuggling into the U.S. Trudeau also stressed that Canada remains committed to playing a leading role in combating fentanyl trafficking, and that his government is fully cooperating with U.S. law enforcement. What happens next? Will the tariff pause be extended? While these new security measures are significant, it remains unclear whether the U.S. will extend the tariff pause beyond 1 month. Trump's history with tariffs has been unpredictable, and he has often used them as a negotiation tool in international relations. Some experts believe that if Mexico and Canada fail to show significant progress in stopping fentanyl trafficking, Trump could quickly reinstate tariffs. On the other hand, if the security measures prove effective, this pause could potentially lead to longer-term trade agreements. What about China? No updates yet. Interestingly, while tariffs on Mexican and Canadian goods have been paused, there's been no word yet on tariffs related to Chinese imports. Many analysts are closely watching whether Trump will also reconsider his trade stance with China, particularly given the ongoing tensions between the two economic giants. What do you think? Will these measures work? So what do you think? Will this temporary tariff pause last, or will Trump bring them back soon? More importantly, will Mexico and Canada's actions be enough to stop fentanyl smuggling into the U.S.? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on global politics, economics, and trade news. Stay tuned for more breaking updates.